We'll have a carriage with the saw assembly on top of it, with the blade, and on each side I will have this one of those bars connected to a flat axis, which will provide a possibility to travel up and down. Now, next thing that needs to be considered is that somewhere, either here or either from here, will be provided support for the motor and the platform that will be attached here, holding the motor and the driving belt connecting to the assembly, will be little bit disbalanced. So I think the screw that will provide the actually the force for moving this assembly will have to be placed between the engine and the carriage itself, while the both guides are here, not, let's say, here and here. I want them to be as close as possible, because that would prevent, unnecessary tilting, and it will not jam itself so easy if they are much closer to each other. Now, as to another dimension, let's say how far it should go down and up, I was thinking about the dimension of the blades and what I will ever try to install into this. This arbor is capable of taking blades up to, I think, like 50 centimeters in diameter. I think like 25 centimeters travel down is much enough for me to handle this. The other thing is that these two guides is just a part of the system. They supposed to provide the rigidity and absolute or as much as possible limit the ability of this entire assembly to have wibble wobble, let's say, problems. Let's say it should not tilt or jam itself or something like that. It should work quite smoothly. So on the other, let's say, end of this assembly, I plan to install a regular drawer guides, which by itself they are quite rigid and so on, but I wouldn't let them carry all this weight on them. This is all mild steel. They are not completely straight, so we will try to make them into as straight as possible. I don't have a surface plate reference, but I have this nice piece of tile which is for flooring, but it's really flat, and as you can see, if we if we take a look underneath, you can see it's shining through, so there is some unevenness in that. So what I'm going to do is to use sandpaper on top of that, of different grades, and I will try to bring it up to 800. I think 800 is much enough, if not more than needed. As you can see, I just started going with the paper. It's like maybe 20 seconds into actually sanding, and as you can see, they are not really as flat as they seem to be. So I will continue up to the end of it. This is 400 grit, and I think directly from 400 I will go to 800. That should do the trick. Okay, it took about half an hour to do this 4 bars, and it will take at least twice as much to do those 2 bars, because they need to be polished on both sides. and I think this is good enough for me. I mean, this is not going to be a stabilizer on a satellite or something like that, and they are pretty flat, and you know, you can observe this phenomena of adhesion between them. So if you put them quite close to each other and pull one of them, the other will be pulled by the other, as you can see. Okay, so I finished the initial sanding on those long bars, and well, almost finished, and I ran off the paper, but never mind that detail. What I noticed that one of those bars that I have is a little bit too much off from the surface, that the reference surface that I have here, and it is amount that could be kind of meaningful and significant for the later use of it, because it's almost 1/4 millimeter. So as you can see, I can push the gauge in between it and the plate without, you know, too much of a difficulty. So it's 1/4 millimeter. Then, you know, I was so badly disappointed that I almost planned to cut another one, but then I decided to check my reference plate against something which could be more of a reference. So I use this, now we are not going to see anything through this. I use this ruler, a very nice, quite cheap device that you can buy in almost every DIY store. And this ruler itself has somewhere between 0.5 and 0.10 millimeter deflection from the, you know, the surface doesn't holds to the straight edge, and I check on both sides of it. So that would imply that this error is not as big as I suspected. So now trying it with the ruler itself, shows up that the error is exactly that. It's somewhere between 0.5 and 0.10. This one doesn't get in any longer, 0.25. So the error is smaller. So I decided that maybe this is a kind of acceptable. Okay, that's it for today. This is the final product. So what is important is that it's moving up and down smoothly, and the accuracy of this, I think it will be sufficient enough. Surface is, you know, slick, and there is no hops and bumps. Later on, maybe I will just take care about the edges of that, so they will go a little bit easier on it. And that's it for today. That's it. More videos.